5 years of independence means little to most of them. As IDPs, they have more basic needs.
It's as if people are in prison in UNMISS compound. The leaders must think how to get us out of UNMISS, women, children and men, so that they can go out and live their lives, so that we get a home and the future of our children.
The government says it doesn't have the money to help get people home. The civil war battered the economy, so it's calling for outside help.
So far, my concern is actually the people, the women, the children, the elderly, those who are actually displaced of this crisis. This is my major concern as Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, and on behalf of the government, we are actually making a lot of appeals that these people get support.
Just before and after independence, South Sudan was given billions in aid, particularly by the West, but critics say much of the money was squandered. Now, donors are reluctant to help until they see reform and justice for victims of the atrocities allegedly perpetrated during the fighting. South Sudan's government says there will be no official organized event to mark the 5th independence anniversary, as the government simply has no money. It is asking the people of South Sudan to sit, reflect, and see how far the country has reached. Patrick Oyet, CCTV, Juba, South Sudan.
South Sudan marks another year of independence. Many of the high hopes for the world's youngest nation have not been met. With millions currently displaced, the United Nations is calling for South Sudan to make a real commitment to rebuilding their country. Mimi Chahman reports from New York.
Well, the considerable number of displaced people is a key concern here at the United Nations. The Refugee Agency reported on Friday that over 2.4 million South Sudanese will be far from their homes on this Independence Day. And now they've fled over ongoing conflict and limited access to very basic resources. According to the UN, government funds that should be going towards national development have instead been funneled into the government's conflict with the opposition. And now that started just 2 years after secession from Sudan, and it's placed a significant burden on the world's youngest country. The UN's Refugee Agency said that infrastructure there remains shambolic. Education, health, and social services are rudimentary and suffering, and they're largely being implemented by foreign charities or NGOs. Now, the agency estimates that by the end of this year, more than 1 million South Sudanese will be refugees, with at least 237,000 leaving in this 5th year of independence. They say what's needed now are schools, clinics, and support for these refugee cases, both internally as well as from the international community, who one of the UNHCR's directors says she hopes will not forget the South Sudanese crisis.